Hey there, my name's Drew Brashler, and in this video, I want to teach you about the gate. And the gate section, specifically, I'm going to be teaching using the Behringer X32. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with the production gear, no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, a gate is kind of like an automatic mute. And what the gate does is it listens to your audio and then has a threshold. Now, the threshold basically says, okay, listen at this level of audio. So let's say it's at negative 40 dB of audio. If my audio goes above that threshold point, the gate will open up and let that signal go through the gate. If the audio then goes below that threshold point, the gate will close and in essence attenuate or mute that audio and prevent it from coming through that gate. Now, there are a lot of different adjustments as far as the gate goes. There is the threshold, which is, again, where it's listening to for that level of change. There is the range, which is how much gets attenuated. We then have the attack. Now, the attack is how long before that gate opens up once the volume goes past that threshold point. Now, that means that if it's muted and attenuated or closed, if we have a longer attack, a higher number, it's going to gradually open. Whereas if we have a very short number or very small number, like 1 millisecond, for instance, it's going to open up very quickly. And we can imagine that a kick drum or a snare drum would need to have a very fast attack, whereas a more longer note instrument, maybe a synth or a keys, that sort of thing, can benefit from maybe having a little bit more gradual of a fade in for that attack. But we wouldn't want to have a slow attack on a kick drum because then we would miss most of the information of that kick drum hitting because it's such a percussive sound. Then we also have a hold time. So we have attack of how slowly does that gate open up. We have the hold time, which means once that audio goes below that threshold point, how long is the gate going to wait before it starts attenuating or starts muting? So that's our hold time. So we have our attack, how fast does it open up? We have our hold time, how long does it wait? And then we have our release time, which is after the hold, and it defines how long it takes for the channel to get attenuated by the gate. So attack is how quickly it opens, hold is how long it waits, and then the decay or the release is how long it takes to attenuate fully. Now on the Behringer X32, there is a gate built into all of our main channels. So if I pull up my guitar 1 right here, I can select this and then I can press view in the gate section. Now, if we want to turn on or enable the gate, we would need to press this button so that this button is orange. Or if we select the view portion of our gate, we would want to make sure that this says active. Now, here is our threshold point. So if I turn this threshold point up, we will notice that we have this little adjustment happening here. Now let me go ahead and open up my channel right here. So this is this microphone that I have sitting right here. There is a little bit of background noise from this microphone. And we can see that as I'm talking, it goes up a little bit. But this microphone's purpose is not to pick me up while I'm talking here. It's to pick me up if I hold the microphone right next to me, which we can see that this little ball goes all the way kind of closer towards the top. Now this yellow ball represents how loud is that channel. Now this is really helpful because when we're setting our threshold, we want to set that threshold point above where this ball is normally jumping around if we want it to mute or attenuate at that point. So let me go ahead and show you what this looks like. I'm going to activate this gate and then I'm going to turn up this threshold point to the point where while I'm talking, it starts attenuating, which we can see that this little bar that's happening here, this is called our gain reduction, or the amount of attenuation that's happening when this gate closes. And that is actually set by our 6th rotary knob all the way over here. So I can change this range all the way to -60, which is an aggressive gate, all the way up to, let's see how far it goes up to, it goes down to 3 dB of attenuation. So if I wanted to have this adjust my attenuation to 30 dB of attenuation when this gate is closed, I would set this range to 30 dB. Now we'll notice as I'm talking, this gate is not opening. That's great because the purpose of this microphone is for me to talk into if I pick up that microphone. It's not to amplify the sound that I'm talking right now. So as this microphone is turned up, we can notice that I'm not hearing this microphone in our mix. But if I was to grab this microphone and bring it in closer, we would hear this microphone coming through. And you can I even clipped this. Whoops. But the purpose of this gate is to basically mute or attenuate a channel that we're not always using if the instrument or channel isn't being used. Now, this should not replace actually physically muting a microphone that's not in use. If there is no plan for me to use this microphone during an entire service or a show, then mute it. There's no reason to have it going through the PA. But if you have, say, an announcement mic that always needs to be able to be picked up and talked into, this is a perfect example for what a gate would be. And this would be a perfect example for this microphone. We can see that this is unmuted, and we can see that my talking is not affecting the gate. But if I pick this microphone up and start talking into it, we would hear it, which is exactly what a gate is for. Now, another example of what we can use this gate for is attenuating background noise of an instrument. So I have an electric guitar, and this electric guitar has a very noisy background. Now, my suggestion is if you ever have an instrument that is very noisy, go talk to that musician and see if they're aware of any issues they have in their setup. Another example of this is if we're ever using a direct box, to make sure that the lift is set in the correct way. So for instance, this direct box would be a perfect direct box for interfacing a keyboard or a piano on stage with your mixer. And chances are, if you hear a buzz, like a brrrr, a direct box would solve your problem. And it would solve your problem by using the lift, which lifts the audio ground and passes just the audio through, but separates the audio ground from the rest of the grounding structure of your system, which chances are it's going to fix that ground buzz that's happening. But if you ever have an instrument, for instance, this electric guitar, that is just noisy, then this is what we can use a gate for. So let me go ahead and press play on this. That's a lot of noise. And he's not even playing yet. Now he's playing. So I'm just going to loop this section over and over again, and we can listen to our gate being set on this specific instrument here. Now, because this instrument has this really loud buzz, this is where I'm going to set my range to 60. Now, it is an aggressive gate because it's taking that volume so far low that if you want a more natural sounding gate, taking that range up to 20 or sometimes a little bit higher than that for like speech, for instance, would make that gate sound a little bit more natural. But in this case, this is a problem fix. This is a problem. So here is my electric guitar. So we can see that the noise of this guitar is right around this line right here in the middle. And then when he starts playing, it gets nice and loud. So this is where we would then take our threshold and adjust it so that it's right above where that noise is. Now, we have our hold and our release. Now remember, our hold time is going to be how long does it wait before it starts muting. So if I take this hold time and put it all the way to 0, then it immediately starts going into the release, meaning how quick is it going to mute or attenuate. But if I take this hold time and I go all the way open, I can go all the way up to 2,000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. It took 2 seconds of time before it started attenuating with the release. So a good general spot, if you're wanting to just kind of mute an instrument, is having your hold time between 100 to 150 milliseconds. And then our release for this particular guitar doesn't sound very natural at that longer release time, but it also wouldn't sound natural at a release of 5 milliseconds. Because that's so aggressive. So a great spot for this would probably be around the 200 to 300 milliseconds right here. That's pretty quick, which is great. Now, if I take my attack and turn it all the way to 120, it's going to gradually open up instead of being that percussive first note. Versus my initial one of having an attack of 1. It's very aggressive, open. Now, the other portion of a gate is called an expander. And the basic difference between a gate and expander is it's going to give a more gradual difference between the attenuated versus the open. So with an expander, we can see that I have an expander 4, an expander 3, expander 2. And that's the type of ratio that we're talking about. Now, an expansion of 2 is not going to be as aggressive as an expansion 3 or an expansion 4, and definitely not as aggressive as a full gate. Now, if we set this to an expansion 4, we'll notice that I would have to set this threshold a little bit higher for it to stay down into that attenuation. But what we'll notice about this expansion 4 is it's a lot more pleasant of a sound than the gate was. Versus the gate. That's just a little bit more mechanical sounding. Now, the other thing that a gate is great at is getting rid of background noise of papers rustling or AC above the stage, that sort of thing. So if you are wanting to utilize a gate with speech, my suggestion is to have your attack set around 1 millisecond, your hold around 80, and then your release around anywhere between 80 milliseconds to 300 milliseconds, depending on how quickly you're wanting to attenuate that channel. And then my next recommendation is to set your range and have it start at -12. If you're wanting to have a less aggressive gate sound, then have it set to -6. And then my recommendation is to set that threshold right up to the point where that AC noise kind of is below that threshold point, and you start seeing the gain attenuation happening here. Now, the gate is especially useful when we have a lot of channels that are open or unmuted all at the same time. And so we can think of a band that's up on stage, and if there's an announcement being made, that band, they have all of their instruments up on stage, and you still have all of their channels unmuted. And every channel has a little bit of noise, either in that XLR or that instrument or in the preamp. Every type of piece of gear has some sort of self noise. And when you amplify 32 channels of that little amount of noise, it can build up over all of your channels. And so you can go from having a very quiet PA system to then when you unmute the band, it just has this real soft hiss to it. And so this is where we can utilize this gate to be able to attenuate those channels when they're not being used. But just make sure that when you're setting this gate, you're not setting it too high, because we want it so that if someone picks up that microphone or starts playing that instrument, that the gate opens and acts the way that it should. And then when they set that microphone down or stop playing their instrument, it starts to close off. So if you are planning on setting up a gate on every single instrument, which might be helpful in some circumstances, my suggestion is to have your threshold set about -70 or lower, have your attack set to 1, your hold set to 150, have your release set to about 800 milliseconds, and then your range set to 30. And then you will then adjust the threshold to the point where when they're not playing their instrument, it starts to attenuate. And then when they do play their instrument, it opens up. If it's not opening up when they start playing, then you need to take your threshold and go lower with that threshold so that it will start opening up once they start playing. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you. If you are on a path learning more about the X32 and you just want to learn more and more and more, go over to my website at drewbrashler.com. I have a course for sale called the X32 Fundamentals course, where I teach my favorite fundamentals that I believe that any audio engineer should know before they touch an X32 and start mixing. So you can check that out at drewbrashler.com. There is a link down in the description below. If you do happen to have any questions about this or want me to teach another section on the X32 specifically, post that in the comments section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.